Hey y'all. Okay, how's everybody doing? I want to talk to you today about your feet. Everybody keeps talking about with this having to stay at home and being self-quarantined and all that with COVID stuff going on everywhere. Self-care. Well, I got to tell you, your feet, they need some self-care, okay? And it's a great place to start. There's something about getting a foot massage, right? That feels really good. And so there's different areas of study in that. There's reflexology, there's Ayurvedic medicine, there's Chinese medicine where they use the meridians, I think it is, in Chinese medicine. And then there's the Nadi system, all these different ways of studying it. And I have not studied all those. I've looked into them. And I will tell you that what I'm going to show you today, called a marma point, is part of the Ayurvedic system. I can only talk to you from the perspective of science. And all my studies I've done in anatomy and physiology, and exercise physiology, and the feet have a lot of connective tissue in them because there's more bones. There's bones, a lot of bones in the feet. It's not just like one or two long bones. There's a lot of small bones in the feet, and all those bones have to be connected to one another with ligaments, and then the muscular attachments that allow you to wave your little piggies, right? Those things, the tendons, the muscles, because even when you flex your foot, right, it's muscles in the front of your leg here connected to these bones that are pulling that lever, right? So all of that connective tissue down there means there's a lot of energy, a lot of nerves. You've got ticklish feet, you know what I'm talking about, right? So I studied the feet some. I had plantar fasciitis. Now, I admit I was self-diagnosed. I had all the signs and symptoms. I didn't go to the doctor about it. But, I mean, I had every classic sign of plantar fasciitis. Like, it was worse in the mornings when I would first stand up. The pain was like somebody was stabbing me in the foot. And I remembered that one of the yoga teachers I have worked with in the past, named Kara, she taught marma points for the feet. And so I thought, I wonder what it would do. So here was my plan of action. And I'll tell you what the results were. I did 3 things. I did marma points twice a day, morning and evening. I took extra turmeric, which is a supplement, a spice that is an anti-inflammatory. And I iced my feet at night before I went to bed. I did not take NSAIDs. It's not good for my kidneys. For me in particular, I can't take NSAIDs. So I just did the turmeric, icing my feet, and the marma points. And both times I had signs and symptoms, which were about 2 years apart when it happened. Both times, all signs and symptoms were gone in about 3 weeks. My father, who has issues with his feet as well, I showed it to him, and he came up afterwards and he was like, Robin, I don't know about all this yoga stuff, but whatever that was you did with my feet today, it hurt like crazy when you were doing it. Man, my feet feel better tonight, and I am not as tired. So there's something about all of this down here affecting all of this up here. I can't explain it, not even through science, only that it's connected. The tissues are connected. The electrical systems are connected. Everything, circulatory, it's all connected. So when your feet feel better, you probably feel better overall. So I want to show you this marma point stuff today, and we're going to start by getting the tissues a little more warmed up, right? Which is a little hard to do with the feet. So one thing you can do is take a wash rag, or I just used a wash rag or a hand towel, something small, place it on the floor, and then I would use my toes to scrunch the towel up underneath me and then push it back. Right, just doing that action right there. You can also stand. I'm not going to stand because I don't have my camera set up for that, but you can stand on a block or a book or something, and you can practice like pointing one toe up, your big toe up, and then taking the big toe down and the other 4 toes up, which that's really hard for me, but you can do that. All right, going back and forth, or just wiggle, move, right? Then a little massage, all right? So then just take and massage your foot. Now they say these marma points, you guys, they say that it helps with respiratory, digestion, and immune. I don't know. I can't speak to that. I just know that my feet feel better, I feel better, right? So I'm using my knuckles, I'm using my thumbs, just pressing. I also like to do the book, right, where you kind of close the book in, where you're almost making a crease down the middle of the foot, and then you open the book up. Right? And so you're just kind of doing that. I also, one of my favorite things to do is fingers through the toes, in between. And if you're like me, my toes curl under a little bit. This part's hard, like getting my fingers between my toes because they curl under a little bit and they're a little close, right? So then getting your fingers in there and I just kind of wiggle my fingers around. And I might pull the toes back and forward. I can include the ankle in that, right? This, right here, just a little bit of a tug. You're trying to get your foot longer. And then you'll do the other foot. You do this as long as you need to. I'm going probably a little faster than I normally would, just simply because I'm making this video. All right, so, I'll tell you, getting the fingers between the toes, that's crazy. Now, I will say, if you've had surgery on your toes where you have pins in your toes or anything like that, you probably will have to find some alternative ways to do a couple of these poses, okay? All right, so you ready for some marma point? Oh, that feels good. You know what? Do that. Just kind of slap around on your feet. I think this is called the tapping method. I don't know. All right, so marma points. Now, the idea is to be able to set like this. This is the main thing. And I'm going to go over a couple of variations where if you can't because of a bad knee or something like that, I'll show you a couple of variations that may help you, it may not. But we'll see. So what you do is, and I'm going to turn this way just a little bit so you can see, I'm going to take one foot, I'm going to turn it and kind of point my toes at the other foot, like that. Then I'm going to take this foot and I'm going to place it on top. Now, I'm not putting my toes on top. I'm not putting my ankle on top. I'm placing this arch right here into this arch, okay? Now, you're going to feel pressure in 2 places. You're going to feel pressure at the top of the bottom foot and the bottom of the bottom foot, okay? So, get it situated and then you sit back. Okay, that's the idea. Now, if you sit back and you find, I don't know what the deal is, Robin, I don't feel, woo, I'm feeling it, and I'm not feeling anything here, then you probably need to move your feet around until you do. Okay? I know when I first started this, particularly when I had plantar fasciitis, the least little bit of pressure back, and I was almost in tears. And it took about the full 3 weeks to get to where I could sit back and not be all scrunched up and crooked. So what you want to watch for, I'm going to show you from the front, is there's a tendency to sit back and then you screw your body over like this, or you're doing this. And this is fine if you want to lean forward and kind of adjust the throttle. All right, throttle of sensation is what I call it. All right, so you can adjust it here, but then get settled in. Now, while you're here, you can practice some breathing if you want, taking 10 deep breaths. Work your way up to 10. I will tell you that. Work your way up. because when I first started, getting 2 breaths, I was lucky, and they were typically really fast. But the more I did this, the more the inflammation went away, the quicker things happened. When you come out, you'll come to hands and knees and then lightly tap, and then go ahead and do the other side. And again, you may have to make some adjustments, okay? And try to match the sides as much as you can. You may be 1 or 2 breaths off. I'm not in quite the right spot here. Ah, ooh, there it is. Woo, I found it. Okay. Woo. Makes you want to kind of like reach out and pop somebody right in the side of the head. So again, adjust as needed. Take a few breaths. Try to stay calm with it. And then when you come out, you come hands and knees, a little tap. And then the final thing I did for my marma points was what we lovingly call broken toes pose. And so I make sure, because my last 2 toes curl under pretty bad, I make sure my last 2 toes are extended and then set back on the heels. And you may find that there's other things you can do here. You might do a little neck work. Or you might just use breath. And this time, when you come out, go right into downward facing dog. And I know you can't see my whole body, but I want you to see how I am moving the feet. And then just notice how they feel. Right? And you might have some lingering sensation. All that's good. Okay? Now, for those people with bad knees, I've worked with some private clients before that they can't get that much bend in their knees. And so a blanket, I have my blankets that I use for yoga, but I also just have household blankets, like my mother quilted this one. And she knows how much I love coffee. Isn't that awesome? And so I roll them. And depending on how your range of motion is in your knees will depend on how much of this you have. You can use a pillow. If you have a bolster, you can use a bolster. But place it back behind your knees. I know you're going to think maybe it should be closer to your feet. But place it behind the knees. And then you set up your crisscross. And you sit back. So this helps keep it from being such an extreme range of motion. I've also used it with the blanket down first and then the block to give it a little more height. And I still get the pressure on the feet. It's not quite as extreme as it was, but there are ways to do it. All right, now, if you just cannot bend your knees like that, you can sit in a chair. I'm not going to sit in a chair today, but you can sit in a chair. And you can apply pressure using your hands, using the thumbs, using the knuckles. You can hit those same pressure points right there. Just spend a little extra time. Now, I would do that first thing in the morning when I first got up, and that was always the really super painful one. And then I would do it in the evening when I got home to relax. I would do these marma points for a few minutes. And then I would sit down and I had one of those gel ice packs. And I would wrap it around my foot. And then I ended up having to get 2 because I had it in both feet. So I wrapped them around both feet and I kept the ice on my feet 15 to 20 minutes after I'd done the marma points. And there you go. One other thing I would suggest though is drinking lots of water. So if you have any questions, let me know. You guys, do me a favor. If you would, Let me know how you like this video. If you liked it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Facebook at Robin Halford Yoga LLC, or on Instagram, same thing, Robin Halford Yoga LLC. You can also find me at Bridge Yoga, Texas. So you guys have an awesome day today. It's about to be Easter weekend 2020, so you guys have a beautiful day.